So Jose, Elio, Rocky, and Teo plan on how they're gonna expose Josiane and tell the news to Mary P. Elsewhere, Fabiana takes Sabrina to meet Vivi, and Sabrina offers to be Vivi's assistant. Vivi and Sabrina hit it off, and then Octavio shows up, and he is shook. And Beatriz looking disappointed, like she already knows what's happening. Girl, you know your man's cheating on you. Elsewhere, Amadeo and Hilda go back to the doctor, and her lying ass finds out that she got cancer again because she didn't go to the doctor that whole time. Well, karma serves her right. That's what she gets for lying. She should have just done things the right way, and none of this would have happened. Theo and Rocky go to try to talk some sense to Mary Peace about Josiane. But Theo literally chickens out and has like a panic attack or something, and he just is unable to. Like, Theo, you had one job! But it was enough to leave Mary Peace uneasy. Over at the wine store, Regis gets bothered by Josiane again, and once again he tells her that Mary Peace does not deserve this and that they should not be doing it. And Josiane doesn't care in the slightest. Mary Peace is uneasy and she tries to go get some advice from Marlene, who proceeds to read Josiane for Phil. She's like, listen, Mary Peace, you love your daughter, but she's trash. That literally, it's almost like literally the entire cast has warned her about Josiane. Elsewhere, Rocky's grandma Cornelia finds her son's hidden money, and she's like, she's gonna be rich, which is interesting because the day before, she told Mary Peace that one day she was gonna own her mansion, specifically Mary Peace's mansion. So I wonder if this is foreshadowing. Back at the mansion, Mary Peace arrives ultra pissed. Mary Peace lashes out at both Josiane and Regis, and they are both shook. The chef refuses to make normal food for Mary Peace, so Mary Peace just fires her instantly. Regis goes up to visit Mary Peace in her room, and he's like, are you okay? Are you weird? And Mary Peace is like, do you really love me? Like, she's being extra weird. Elsewhere, Vivi and Chicle are wasting our time with their relationship. She's really like, oh my god, Chicle, like, so you never told me what you do. And he's like, girl, don't ask questions. I know, let's do this instead. Later, the chef is packing up her knives, and Ellen is joining her, and she startles Mary Peace. And Mary Peace immediately wakes up and goes down thinking it's a robber, and she has the plot gun as usual. Mary Peace, being the kind-hearted person that she is, apologizes to the chef for being mean to her earlier, and the chef understands, she apologizes as well, and then they leave on good terms. Upstairs, Regis finally tells Josiane that he truthfully loves Mary Peace, and Josiane was having none of it. She freaked out, and then she immediately proceeded to try to seduce. Mary Peace walked back up to her room when she heard that, for whatever reason, they left the door open, so she went and peeped and caught them in the act. And Mary Peace was shook. Y'all, this is the moment we've finally been waiting for. This is it, y'all. Next episode going to be crazy. So today's episode is a wild ride. So finally, Mary Peace catches Josiane and Regis, and they are shook when she confronts them immediately. But Josiane doesn't care about her mother's feeling, and she's like, we've been cheating since forever. I hate her. Regis tries to plead with Mary Peace, tell her to calm down. He keeps telling her that he loves her. But Mary Peace is not having it, and she's like, we're gonna settle this Ramirez style. So she brings out the plot gun and shoots his ass. Mary Peace was not playing around today. Josiane was shook. I was shook. We were all shook. I honestly didn't think she was gonna shoot him. They call the ambulance and the police, and Camilo shows up since he's the only detective in town. And Mary Peace is on her queen status. She's like, yeah, I shoot him. And I do it again. And she's like, if I'm gonna be arrested, I'm gonna be arrested in style. Let me switch to my red coat. Like, yeah, girl. Over at the police station, Mary Peace is feeling bad about the situation, and thankfully the other inmates are sympathetic to her cause. Amadeo gets a call to help Mary Peace, and he is on it immediately. Hilda was pissed. Over in the ghetto, old lady Gladys hears the news about Regis getting shot, and she freaks out, so they all go to the hospital, where they encounter Josiane. And at this point, Josiane said, I've been exposed, so I don't even care. She tells old lady Gladys about her affair with Regis and how they're gonna run off. And even old lady Gladys, who doesn't like Mary Peace, was disgusted. She was like, girl, you nasty. And they was about to get into it. There was about to be a fight. Even Lyris got involved. Back in jail, Mary Peace is recognizing her mistakes, and she's praying to God. Mary Peace really made me cry, y'all. Like, she was hurting, and she was like, is there no room for good people in this world? Like, she made me so sad. She was a little dumb, and she should have listened, but she didn't deserve all this. Can we talk about how Juliana Pez acted so good in these episodes? Before Amadeo left the house, Raul dropped a huge hint. He started talking about the Mateo's blood feud, and then he let out that he helped Josiane do something. And Amadeo was like, you sus, but I'll get to you eventually. Amadeo finally gets to Mary Peace, and she tells him everything that happened. And Mary Peace is just so defeated. She's like, I'm so sad. Like, my daughter betrayed me, and like, I just really don't have a will to live. And Amadeo confronts her. Like, Mary Peace, it's not all over, girl. You still have Amadeo. Josiane couldn't be bothered, so she heads back to the mansion. And then Teo shows up and finally confronts her. But Josiane doesn't even care. He's like, girl, whatever. Like, I don't even care. And then Teo loses his cool and he starts attacking her. Next in line is Amadeo. Amadeo showed up just to curse her out. And Josiane was really gonna try to play dumb this late in the game after she exposed herself to everybody. Amadeo called her ass right out and was like, girl, you're gonna play this nonsense with me. I know what you did. And he was like, I'm so ashamed that you are my daughter. He read her for filth. He dragged her and she deserved every second of it. The next day, everybody gossiping about Josiane. Jose Elio telling them what Rocky and him did to catch her. Like, literally, every single person in this room probably told her that her daughter was trying to betray her. So enough people warned her. Over at jail, Mary Peace is being treated extra nice by the inmates. They're trying to take care of her. They're like, you should eat something. And Mary Peace still kind of just sitting in limbo, wondering what happened to her life and where she went wrong. But the good thing is that she finally admitted to herself that she had made a mistake in racing Josiane. Amadeo shows up and talks to her one more time about Regis' condition, and we're left wondering what happened to Regis. This episode was a wild roller coaster ride from start to finish. There were so many things I did not expect to happen, and it just got crazy from here, and it's gonna get even crazier, y'all. So this episode is about Josiane finally showing her true colors and Mary Peace finally realizing the mistakes that she has made. So we start with Amadeo is like, you should probably talk to Josiane on your own time. Back at the hospital, Josiane is just telling old lady Gladys about the affair and how Mary Peace caught them and how it all went down. And old lady Gladys was disgusting. She was like, I don't even like Mary Peace, but I'd rather her be with Regis than your nasty ass. Totally unrelated and unnecessary, Kim is setting up some publicity stunt between VIVI and some singer. Apparently he's a real singer, and they're faking to be in a relationship. But Chicle is immediately pissed off. He barges in and he starts problems with everybody. He starts accusing the dude of trying to steal his girlfriend, and it's all a big mess. I guess I went to the motel because VIVI was like, I didn't let Camilo do this, and yet you're doing it. But girl, you literally are letting him do the stuff that you didn't want Camilo doing, so what's up? And then he once again brings up his job and how she never hears about what he's doing. And he's like, for the 80th time, like, oh, let's not worry about that. Let's do sexy time instead. Like, I can't. Like, they're trying to make them like this wholesome couple, but they're not. And it's like annoying. As if things aren't bad enough for Mary Peace, Don Otero is flirting with Marlene and he's about to say something important. But instead of saying it, he ends up having a heart attack instead. Like, oh my god, and he's the only one that knows where those documents are. Over at the corporate building, Fabiana is negotiating with Ottavio and Agno about what she wants in order for them to get rid of her. Agno realizes how dangerous Fabiana is when she retells the story of how she got Ottavio's side chick into Vivi's house. And Fabiana's like, the only way you're getting rid of me is if you buy me a business. And I feel like she's gonna end up with the cake factory because she was just there the other day looking at it. As if things weren't bad enough, then this happens. Dumbass Mano Santa goes back to Don Ontario's house as he was staying before, looking for some stuff, and then he said he needed a folder or something, and Chicle's like, oh, just take whatever, they're unnecessary documents. Like, why would you take someone's stuff? So Mano Santa finds the plot documents that will help Mary Peace and takes it with him. He literally stole the plot documents. Like, his dumbass just started a big problem. So this is the part in the novella where a plot item is needed, but it starts going from one person to another, except for the person who needs it. So eventually, probably in a couple of episodes, it's gonna make its way back to the rightful person when it's time to conclude the plot. Mary Peace gets out of jail, and then this is why we love Mary Peace, because she tells the other inmates that she's gonna help them get out of jail as well. Back at the mansion, Mary Peace briefly reunites with Ellen and Grandmama Evelina, and she gets right to it. She's like, I need to talk to Josiane. And Josiane is ready to show her true colors. The snake jumped out real quick. She went right in, and she told Mary Peace the entire truth. Not because she was sorry, but because she wanted to hurt her mom. And Mary Peace was so shook. She was like, you cannot be serious. Like, you cannot really be doing this. And Josiane was so happy to admit all her crimes. She admitted how she stole the jewelry and framed Rocky, and how she has been working with Regis this whole time to scam Mary Peace. She really had no mercy on her. And Mary Peace was so hurt by all of this, and she just was trying to come up with like excuses, but it just wasn't working anymore. And Josiane went even more psycho when she started talking. Mary Peace finally loses her cool, and she's like, you will apologize to me. And Josiane is like, no, I don't care if you forgive me or not. I don't care about you at all. Not only that, she kicks Mary Peace out of her own house. Like, I hate this girl. I wanted to just jump in there and slap her myself. Mary Peace, I'm gonna need you to summon that ass whipping energy from the other day and do it again, because she deserved all of it. Mary Peace was like, that was my money. That was my money that paid for this mansion and for all your stuff. And Josiane was like, I don't care. She was like, my name is on all the documents, so legally this is my mansion and you need to get out. She legit kicked out her own mother. Back at the hospital, Regis is agonizing in his sleep, and Lyris finds it interesting that he keeps calling out for Mary Peace. Over at Merlin's apartment, Mary Peace shows up with her mom, and Merlin tries to comfort her, and she is just so broken. Like, I can't stand to see her like this, yo. But Mary Peace is a strong woman. She said it herself. She's like, she's not going to turn away in the face of adversity. You go, girl. That's why we stand you. She says, I'm going to get up and go to work. But Josiane beat her to it. I hate her so much. So Mary Peace walks into her office with the horrible sight of Josiane sitting in her chair. And Josiane is like, the factory is mine too. Get out. Mary Peace, I'm going to need you to set aside the sadness that you're having and whoop her ass, because she deserves all of it. Okay, this was seriously the crying episode because there were so many moments in this episode that were just so emotional. So we start with Mary Peace with the horrible sight of her daughter in her chair. And Josiane gonna act all smug talking about the factory's mine too. You have to get out. Like, girl, get out of my face. And Mary Peace is like, listen, I work this factory. You haven't done anything but been a spoiled, horrible person. It's mine. And Josiane continues to be smug. And she's like, no, on paper, it's mine. So get out. And she's like, also, I'm fabulous. And Mary Peace destroys her career. She's like, listen, you're a horrible person. You kicked out your mom out of her own house. Like, you are not fabulous, right? And then she said, also, I got the papers that will take away that power. And Josiane was left shook. Yeah, girl, it ain't all gonna go your way. Josiane thought she was sitting pretty for a moment. But girl, we all know it's not gonna last. So Mary Peace walks out and she tells everybody in the factory how she got kicked out. And she tells Marcio about the plot documents. Like, Mary Peace, you probably shouldn't be talking about those important things with Josiane around. But this is why I love Mary Peace. She tells everybody, you know, keep working, don't let this distract you, and do it with lots of love. I love her so much. And she has very emotional goodbyes with everybody. She literally hugged everybody. That's a true leader. People love her for that reason. Over at the corporations, negotiations continue between Fabiana, Agno, and Octavio. And then they're like, all right, how much will it take for us to get rid of you? And Fabiana's like, y'all better give me a business, because that's the only thing I'm asking for. And they said no. And Fabiana's like, well, I'm going to ruin your life then. Mary Peace gets back to Marlene's apartment and she has a total breakdown. This scene literally broke my heart. It just hurt to see Mary Peace just suffering so much. Like, she don't deserve any of this. And then Grandma Evelina came and comforted her and she was like, go get Rocky. And boy, did I cry during these scenes. So Rocky's like, Mary Peace, what's up? Why do you want to talk? And Mary Peace, with tears in her eyes, is like, I'm so sorry for blaming you and for not believing you. Like, I should have done it. I should have heard. And Rocky's like, don't worry, I forgive you. You know, you're so important to me and we've always been really, really good. And this is legit the first time that I've seen Mary Peace smile. And then they hugged it out. And I really was about to cry in this moment because it's like the first time that something nice happens. Back at the factory though, things aren't going as good. Marcia's trying to talk some sense into Josiane, who knows absolutely nothing about business. He's like, listen girl, like, we got a lot of expenses and this is not gonna last if you keep doing it. And Josiane is like, I don't care. Just put some money into my account. Like, all right girl, you're gonna be broke pretty soon. Mary P seeks out Don Antero at the hospital to try to see if he remembers where he left the plot documents. And as if things aren't difficult enough, Don Antero lost his memory. He's like, girl, I'm not. Oh my god, the Britney scene. Alright, so Britney and Abel are having a nice walk. They're talking about how they like each other so much, and Britney just has a breakdown. She just starts out crying. Britney finally tells Abel that she's trans, and Abel just does not get it at all, and he reacts exactly the way we thought he would. Abel is extra rude to Britney, and he's like, I can't believe this, I've been deceived. And he is so mean to her. What really broke my heart is that Britney was like, no, I'm a real woman. And she kept telling him that she loved him. Like, how could he do this to her? Over at the hospital, Josiane tried to visit Regis. And Regis woke up and was like, girl, you best get away from me. Josiane was shook. She was like, you must be delusional. He's like, nope, get away from me. Yes, girl, you get nothing. Mary Peace gets back from Don Antero's hospital visit, and she's like, all right, we gotta go look for those plot documents ourselves. And as I explained yesterday, this is the point where the plot item starts traveling through every member in the cast before it's actually needed. So we know that yesterday, Mano Santa dumbass took it by accident, and then today it went to Adriano, and then it went to Beatriz, and then it went to me. Back at Amadeo's house, he's telling this idiot Rael about how Mary Peace got scammed by Josiane. And the wheels started turning right away. I know there's not much in that brain, but there's enough brain to scam Josiane. Later, lying ass Hilda had the nerve to get mad when Amadeo was like, Mary Peace needs help. But she finally came clean, and she was like, listen, that whole lying thing, it was all Josiane's fault. Like, Hilda, you literally let this girl give you cancer. Think about that. And Amadeo rightfully was like, y'all both trash. She deserved all of it. Elsewhere, in things that should be strange but are not strange, King, Marcio, and Sylvia have a triple date, and Kim decides that Sylvia should be an influencer, and I'm here for it. The next day at the factory, Abel is a total ass. He starts picking a fight with Britney and starts just being rude to her in front of everybody. He just throws a total bitch fit and makes a giant scene. To the point where even Josiane gets involved. And listen, Josiane is the spawn of a freaking demon, but even Josiane, at her worst villana point, was like, Abel, she's trans. It's okay. Get over it. Like, when the villana has more sense than you know you're completely in the wrong. She was like, listen, Britney's gonna do her job. You need to leave her alone and get back to your own job. Like, Abel, this crazy psycho is making more sense than you are. And Abel felt extra stupid afterwards. Well, Josiane doesn't work, so she goes right to the studio, and Teo's like, what are you doing here? And everybody is extra off. Teo's like, you must be crazy if you think I'm gonna photograph you, because I'm not. And he goes right off. And everybody really just there getting the tea. Look at them. Sylvia debuts as an influencer. And I honestly feel like she's actually gonna do good as an influencer. After that, Fabiana starts her revenge, and she's like, Vivi, I made a huge mistake, I need to fix it. And she takes her to Sabrina's apartment. Vivi and Fabiana get there when Octavio's there, and Vivi is shook when she saw her dad. Octavio was blindsided. He was not ready for this mess. And immediately, Vivi picks a fight with both of them, and rightfully so. And she's like, we're gonna settle this at home. And Fabiana was like, I won this one. You best watch out. This is my love. She's a villain and she's evil, but I love her. Octavio was big mad at this. Back in Marlene's apartment, Chicle hands Mary Peace her old original mixing bowl from all the way back in the country. And I think it's kind of symbolic of Mary Peace starting all over again from zero, which I'm here for. This is the second time that I've seen Mary Peace smile after all of this. And then her and Chicle make up too, which is like the best thing for it. After that, they start talking about the plot documents, and she asks Chicle if he has any idea who has them. The light bulb turns on, and he's like, wait a minute, I actually think I do. But he decides to confirm before. Over at the mansion, Rael pays Josiane an unexpected visit, and right off the bat, he's extra demanding, which throws Josiane off, and she's extra pissed. And he's like, listen, Hunty, I got nothing to lose, so you best give me half of all that money you just stole. And Rael's the first one to try to scam Josiane. Don't forget, Fabiana got dirt on her, and she has a whole bunch of dirt still. This is it. Girl, you going down. So today in Dulce Ambición, we start with Rael blackmailing Josiane, and Josiane is like, well, if you snitch on me, you're going down with me. And Rael's like, Hunty, do I look like I'm a man that has anything to lose? He's like, I got nothing to lose. So we both going down, you're gonna lose the most. And Josiane is pissed. And she's like, damn it, he has a point. And then she tries to like make up excuses. She's like, the factory isn't doing good. And Rael's like, I don't care. Just give me my money. How's it feel, girl? Elsewhere, Vivi's having a huge argument with Octavio about his newest baby mom. And as they're going at it, and Vivi is reminding him of what happened with Cosme, Beatriz walks in and listens to the whole story of what happened with Cosme. Oh my god. Both Vivi and Octavio were not ready, and they were both equally shook. And then Beatriz, she was pissed. She was like, how could you hide this from me? You guys should have told me the truth. All of you are snakes. And she lets Octavio have it. She was like, that girl was your daughter's age. How could you? And I was here for Octavio getting. The next day at the corporation, Fabiana shows up and she's like, I still want my money. And Octavio's like, no, you get nothing. And she's like, bet. And she's like, no, I still got some secrets on you. So she let her go and visits him. And she's like, listen, I got dirt on you and you don't want your daughter finding out you gay. So you better give me that money. She knows how to play the game, yo. Over at the gym, Rocky, being the angel that he is coming up with a plan to help Mary Peace. And he tells Sale that he should fake still loving Josiane so that they can catch her off guard and get it. Rocky is the MVP, y'all. Over at Marlene's apartment, Vivi's grandma Linda goes and visits, and she starts telling the tea of what happened at her house. I'm just so shook because like everyone's just giving this tea in this episode. And Marlene and Grandmama Evelina are equally shook. They're like, girl, like, I guess we all got. Anyways, Linda tries to give Mary Peace some insight onto why Josiane is being so evil. And she reveals to Mary Peace that Josiane is a psychopath who is unable to feel empathy for all. And rightfully so, everybody is shook. Like, y'all didn't know she was crazy? Over at the hospital, Regis wakes up and is doing better. And Lyra's and Old Lady Gladys discuss who's gonna pay the bill because they are broke. And Old Lady Gladys decides to pay Josiane a visit because she'd rather deal with this víbora than freaking actually pay some bills. These two snakes were made for each other. And Old Lady Gladys is like, listen, I don't like you, you don't like me, but you gotta pay Regis's bills. And Josiane is like, fine, I'll pay them on the condition that you get out of my business and don't get involved. And Old Lady Gladys was pissed, and she was like, listen, you're trash, and your mom does not deserve any of the trash that you did to her. This sets Josiane off, and she kicks her out of her office. Now before Old Lady Gladys can get some words in, she's like, listen, Hunty, I am what you want to be, okay? I just live rich without actually having the money. And she said, let me tell y'all something. I've been around the block a couple of times, and people like you end up bad. And then she immediately calls Marcio, and she's like, I need you to transfer some money over and sell those other factories immediately. And Marcio once again is like, that's a terrible decision, girl. You're gonna lose money. Like, don't you get it? And she's like, no, this is my factory and I do what I want. Go broke, girl. Old Lady Gladys goes back to the hospital, and her liars are taking care of Regis. And Regis is like, we're not going to do anything against Mary Peace. We want that subject dropped. Back in Marlene's place, Mary Peace gets a call from Chicle saying that he thinks he found the plot document. And everybody gets excited. And Mary Peace tells Linda about the plot documents. Linda, if only you knew that the plot documents were at your house. Over at the gym, Vivi tells Rocky the tea about what happened at her house. And Rocky's like, oh, your parents separated? And he immediately runs to tell Jose Elio, Beatriz is now a single woman, go shoot your shot. And I'm here for the... Over at the photo studio, Fabiana looking like the clown that she is. And she thinks that she got Teo. He's like, all right, let's work together. And she's like, oh, you forgive me? Okay. Girl, you think you have him in your bag, but you don't. Back at the gym, everyone's trying to locate Adriano, the gym manager who has the plot documents, but we all know that they're long gone. Mary Peace thanks Chicle for at least locating them anyway, and then they said to try again tomorrow. And Chicle threatens Manuel Santa for the stupidity that he committed. I'm not mad at this because that was really stupid what he did and created this huge problem. And he's like, I should shoot you. I love how like chill they are and how used to this they are. Because Manuel Santa wasn't even shook. He was just like, yeah. It was like his big brother reprimanding him. But BB shows up and she was like, that was extra weird. Like, Why do you do that? Which leads us to their big scene. Literally, this week has been crazy. Literally, every episode this week has had some crazy, huge plot revelation. And now it's time for Vivi and Chicle. Chicle tries to play it off as always to distract Vivi, and she's like, no, this time you better speak. We gotta talk, because you cannot keep avoiding the truth. Tell me what's... And Chicle finally comes clean, and he's like, alright, so I was a hitman back in the country, and tells her exactly what he did. And Vivi was not ready. She thought he was like a gardener or something. She was like, well, I was not expecting this. This is weird. And he's like, oh, it gets weirder, girl. Like, just you. And he's like, yeah, you remember that mess with Cosme? He was like, well, Cosme kind of hired me to go take care of you. And Vivi is shook. She's like, oh my god, Cosme told me the same thing. And the episode ends before we hear her reaction. Will she be pissed? Are there going to be problems with them? Like, I really don't care about the relationship, but I'm glad it's finally out there. Let's see how it is. This week has been absolutely crazy.